learners, welcome to this module of ARPIT at IIT Delhi. In this module, we will be discussing enhancing access to library resources, a critical discussion, examination and evaluation of Webscale discovery services. I am Dr. Tariq Ashraf. Libraries, basically are discovery systems. Libraries discover resources for their readers. Libraries also use different kind of tools to discover resources on a larger scale. So, in this module, we will be discussing what is a discovery system, why a discovery system, what it does and what should be the parameters when you select commercial discovery systems. Basically, there is more emphasis on using effective discovery system for library users, because demand for traditional library services is declining. Because the information is available to user from multiple formats, the information is available to user in different from different sources, from different multiple sources, different multiple formats. So, there is a sharp decline in the library services. So, library accordingly have to provide better discovery of their resources to meet this kind of challenge. If you look at the statistics, the circulation services, if you look at the circulation services, if you look at the reference request, we see a sharp declining in these services. There is lesser number of books being issued and there are lesser number of reference queries. So, in this kind of situation, we have to make our resources more stronger, we have to make our discovery resources more viable, so that this declining usage is increased, this declining usage is checked. The user has viable alternatives to libraries now, because earlier libraries used to be sole repositories of this knowledge. They used to be basically having a monopoly over resources. Now, with the arrival of internet, there are other systems, there are other tools which are providing information to user. So, the user is not basically completely dependent upon library. Now, he has information coming from different platforms, from internet, from from search engines, from different academic networks. So, user has a viable alternative at his disposal, and he can use any of these viable alternatives to fulfill his knowledge requirements. The information is available freely on internet, and there are statistics which show the reference questions are going down. Reference questions are fewer, but often more complex, and web is seen more easier, more accessible than library databases. Students sometimes do not believe that they need aid of a librarian, because he is getting information freely and it is coming to him in a 24/7 paradigm. So, largely he has become self-dependent, he has become dependent upon sources which are beyond libraries. So, accordingly, libraries have to rework their discovery systems. So, as I said in the beginning, that libraries are essentially discovery systems. They discover resources, they arrange resources, they organize resources for their users, and they provide these resources through various by using various discovery tools. So, we know that our catalog used to be the primary traditional source of discovering resources, where we have all these kind of access points through our cataloging cards, and we can search catalog through author, through keyword, through subject, through titles, and through other entry points. For a long time, these catalogs served a very strong resource discovery system, cataloging at Library of Congress played key role. Further progress on discovery system, and we went to online public access catalog with the availability of internet. So, online public access catalog made discovery system far more stronger, and it becomes very easy to user to discover books, to discover journals, to discover other resources through OPAC. Everything become available at his fingertips, and then there was development in machine readable records. So, these again these standards like MARC played key role in making discovery of resources more stronger and more easier for the user and more standardized also. So, what we can see is that there has been always progress in these tools, in these various systems of resource discovery by the libraries, and libraries have been always going forward to make user more powerful to search the resources. Then we have this federated search. Federated search became again a very potent tool, again very powerful tool at the hand of user. And through federated search engine, through federated search mechanism, a user could search all the resources in a through a single interface. So that was basically advantage of technology which came available to user through this federated search facility, where all the resources, all the formats, whether it was audio format, whether it was video format or print format or e-format, they all became integrated and were available to user through this federated search facilities. This was again yet another scaling up of discovery system which helped libraries to organize their resources and also make accessible them to users more strongly. And then we come to Webscale discovery systems. So, the Webscale discovery system has been a phenomenal kind of development in recent years. When this whole discovery system was scaled up to the internet, when entire discovery system was scaled up to the web, and user can access, user can discover resources remotely. So, that is a very defining kind of discovery system which became available to our libraries, became available to our users. When the library resources could be discovered from a remote point, they could be discovered in a more stronger and in a real kind of situation at a greater speed. So, Webscale discovery tools which are available through different platforms have become very important resource for discovery systems, and now basically they have also become integral part of our entire online systems. So, what kind of benefit these Webscale discovery platforms provide? They basically provide search of all contents at one place, single search box, single index, single relevance ranking, speed, bandwidth, complete result set, no local hardware, no local installation. So, this is a massive advantage over other traditional discovery system like catalog, web opaque or even federated search, where entire resource is available, where all the resources are integrated at one place and they are searched through a single index, where all through a single interface, through a single search box, the resources are available to user, and all the results of the resources are generated at one place and across the platform, across the formats. Now, the point is that why we require discovery services. Essentially, these discovery services, these Webscale discovery services have the power to revolutionize library system. With discovery services, you can find and retrieve information in ways never before possible. But what does this really mean for the average librarian? How do discovery services work, and finally, which service? So, these are some of the issues which we have to examine very critically, that what kind of discovery services we should subscribe to, because these services are largely available through commercial platform. So, we have to make huge payment for this. So, we have to be very careful when we select these discovery services, and we have to completely understand, we have to completely have knowledge of parameters which we should apply when we discover, when we subscribe to the different kind of discovery services. So, what are the parameters, what are the again features of this discovery system? We have to understand these before taking a decision. So, basically today, as I said, there are numerous alternative avenues for discovery, and libraries are challenged to determine what role they should appropriately play. Basic scholarly information use practices have shifted from rapidly in recent years, and as a result, the academic library is increasingly being disintermediated from the discovery process. So, basically, as I said, that the information is coming from different platforms, from different search engines, from different academic networks. So, libraries are facing challenge of being the sole service provider, sole proprietor of the information services. So, we have to strengthen our discovery system if we want to win back our users, if we want to get more users to the libraries. So, resources should be available like other online platform. For example, Google provides one of the best discovery system. So, we have to match Google. When we have a discovery system, we have to see to it that our discovery system is as strong as Google discovery system. Google search engine is the fastest search engine. It has other very strong features like ranking the resources. So, our discovery system should contain all these resources, because now we have a competitor and we have to match the services, we have to match the competencies of platforms like Google. So, we have to be very careful. So, what exactly is Webscale discovery? Let us understand this, what are the features of Webscale discovery platform, what are the important points. Basically, Webscale discovery system combine vast repositories of content with accessible interfaces and hold the potential to greatly facilitate such processes. Basically, what Webscale discovery system does, it integrates all the resources at one place, and it also strengthens the searching process. It also facilitates the research process, because there is a complete integration and all the resources are available at one place. Able to index a variety of content, whether hosted locally or remotely. This is a very important point. What Webscale discovery system does, that it creates a single index of variety of content, whether they are your local content, whether they are accessible to from some other network, they are accessible to remotely. So, such indexing is very helpful, because your index is at one point and all your resources are included that in one single index. So, it becomes very difficult for you to have your resources discovered for your users. Then discovery system creates a unified search interface for users, pulling together information from the library catalog as well as other resources. So, this is again very important. It pulls information from different resources like catalog, or also resources like journal article, images and archival material. So, basically it integrates the resources of your library at one place, enhances discoverability of as a broad spectrum of library resource as possible, minimizes the skill, time and effort needed by our users to discover resources. This is again very important. The user's time is saved to great extent, and your discovery system minimizes the skill required by the user and the time required by the user in his effort to discover the resources. It supports a high level of local customization. So, this is also very important, that discovery system allows you to customize. It enables you to have your own features included in the system and to customize the resources as per your own requirement. This also supports a high level of interoperability. Interoperability is very important for sharing the resources. So, all discovery systems have this feature of supporting interoperability, and they also demonstrate commitment to sustainability and future enhancement. So, this is again important, that whatever innovation is taking place, whatever research is taking place in information technology kind of platform. So, discovery system supports all these researches, and also they have complete commitment to sustain this platform on long term basis. When we choose a discovery platform, for example, if we choose Webscale discovery from EBSCO, or we select Webscale discovery from ProQuest or from some other platform. So, we have to look into some parameters. So, some of these parameters are like, you have to identify vendor, next generation discovery platform, whether established and currently on the market, or those publicized and at an advanced stage of development with an exception of availability within a year's time. So, you have to understand the complete profile of the service provider, whether service provider has just entered the market or whether the service provider is well established firm. He has potential to undertake research, he has the potential to undertake innovation. So, you have to completely understand, because it is long term kind of commitment. So, we have to completely understand the profile, the complete knowledge about the company which is providing this solution. What we should do is that we should create a checklist, criteria, functional requirement, desire for next generation discovery platform. So, what exactly we require from our discovery platform, what exactly what kind of resources we need to discover and what kind of integration we are looking for. So, we should create a checkpoint for these and match with the platform. We should create list of questions to distribute to potential vendor and existing customer of next generation discovery platform. So, we should create a list of questions and let the vendors, let the platform providers, let the service providers answer these questions. So that everything becomes clear cut, because it is again an important investment which has to be done very carefully. Then there are points like questions like pricing, maintenance, installation, etc., etc. And what type of question can be included? So, let us look into some question. So, we should seek to understand how content hosted in our current online system. Like we have our current arrangements of hosting online system like catalog, locally created databases, vendor databases, etc., could or would not be incorporated or searchable within the discovery system. So, this is an important question we should put before the vendor, that how our current resources shall be integrated, shall be included in your system. How new information resource could be incorporated, then we will be having some more resources in time to come. So, how these new resources will be part of your discovery system. What type of existing records are discoverable within vendors next generation discovery platform, and seek an understanding of what basic metadata must exist for an item to be discoverable. So, again we have to look into these questions, that what kind of metadata is being being supported by the discovery system, and what kind of what type of existing records are discoverable, so that your discovery system becomes strong. Search. So, the system, whether the system has a Google like simple search box, system has a Google like simple search box, but also has an advanced search capability. So, we have to look into this search interface, what kind of interface is being provided, whether it is a simple search or whether it is a Google like advanced search, and where user can refine a search to certain categories. Then in case of zero result, the system should suggest something else or ask, did you mean? Sometimes you do not have a particular resource in your library, so your system generates zero results. So, there should be a zero tolerance for zero result in current environment. So, what your discovery system should do to this to overcome this problem, it should immediately suggest the user to modify his search, or even should give him some alternative, like, do you mean this? So, when a user gets a modified search facility, so maybe he can get his search modified through this discovery system, and maybe he is able to get some resources which earlier were not available to him or her. There has to be a deduplication of similar items. So, your discovery system should completely deduplicate the records, so that the user is not hassled by this duplication of items. And this Web2 point of functionality should be integral part of discovery system. So, as Web 2.0 allows sharing of resources across the social media platform, across other various platforms. So, these Web 2.0 functionality should be part of the discovery system, where you can share your resources, where you can tag, and where you can also provide some comments, you can provide some observation, so that some kind of reviewing is possible through your discovery system. There should be some enrichment of the records. Enrichment means basically value addition. You already have records, but the system should allow you to to add value to your records, so that your records become more valuable and accordingly more discoverable, more usable to the user. So, how this enrichment can take place, what kind of value addition is possible. So, you have to look into your discovery system, like book covers for item held by libraries. So, book covers can be provided, a Google book preview button for print items held by the libraries, display item status information for print items held by the libraries, example available, checked out. So again, these are simple points, but these should be part whether the record is available, whether the product is available, whether the book is available or checked out, and when it is likely to come back. So these are the small value addition which can be done through discovery platform. Then when a user gets results, when he gets the search results, so there should be some kind of facility whereby these results can be further value added by the user himself through this discovery platform. So these are some of the points that it should allow to retrieve the full text of an item with only a single click on the item from the initial list of the return result, ability to add items to a cart for easy export, print, mail, save. So these kind of facilities are being provided by online shopping stores like Flipkart, Amazon. So all these facilities should be part of this discovery system, like ability to place an interlibrary loan link request for an item. System has a login user account feature which can store user search information for later. In other words, a user could potentially log in to retrieve saved search previously stored items or create alerts when new material becomes available. These are very important points from a user's point of view, that he is able to save his searches and also retrieve these searches at a later stage, so that he immediately gets references. Then when you subscribe to a discovery system, you have to see what kind of agreements your service provider is having with the publisher and aggregator. So you have to look into all these points, that what kind of agreement he has, including their content. For example, if you subscribe to a content at a later stage and it does not become part of the discovery system, it will create some problem. So you have to basically understand what is the capacity of your service provider to include all potential products, all upcoming publications. So he should basically have agreements with a large publishing community that provide more stronger services in future also. Then comments on metadata which is provided. Could you please provide some general comments on the level of data provided to you or indexing purpose by the majority of major publishing aggregators with which you have forged agreements? Basically, what kind of agreements you have with your publishers with regard to metadata standards, with regard to other facilities. So that should also be a question to your service provider, that what kind of provision he has, basic bibliographic information, subject descriptors, keywords, abstract, full text. So all these metadata elements should be part of his agreement with the publisher. So you have to examine completely what kind of agreement, what kind of arrangement your service provider is having with the publishing industry. Then what are the topical strengths? Do you feel there is a particular content area that you feel service covers especially well or leans heavily towards? Like what kind of topic you cover more strongly, like if you have specialization in humanities, social sciences or sciences, do you feel there is particular content type that you feel the service covers very well or leans heavily? What subject content areas, if any, do you feel the service may be somewhat weak? So what are the areas which are strong and what are the areas which are weaker? So you have to completely understand in terms of coverage. Then do you have some arrangement with the Google, like Google Books or Google Scholar, whether you can provide these content through your discovery system? Similarly, with the WorldCat catalog of OCLC, do you have some agreement to discover WorldCat cataloging results through your platform? Then there are various ebook vendors. So does your service include items from major ebooks vendors? So this is again you have to completely point out to the this discovery service provider that what kind of arrangement he is having with different ebooks vendors. Now coming to the next point, what kinds of arrangement you have in your discovery system with regard to open access content. This is again very important point, because now a lot of content is available through open platform. So your discovery system should be able to harvest this open content and should be able to provide access and to provide search these contents which are coming from open access platform. Then how your relevancy ranking is strong. This again is a very crucial issue when we use a lot of resources, that our resources should be discovered through a system which also provide some kind of relevancy ranking. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to manage search results, because whenever we search for some resource through discovery platform, we get huge amount of answers. So in that case, there has to be a system whereby all the results are ranked according to their relevancy. So we should make sure that this discovery system has this system in place where all the search results are ranked according to their relevance. Then there are a lot of resources in our system which do not have complete metadata. The metadata is very limited. So in this case also, your discovery platform should support this kind of resource also, where the item does not have complete metadata. So the question should be, could you please offer some comments on how your system ensures discoverability for items with lesser or minimal metadata. So in case this point is included, then all your resources become discoverable even without having complete metadata specifications. Does your service offer the capability for the user to search the full text of material in your service? If so, approximately what percentage of items within your service are deep indexed? So you should ask this question also, do you provide full text searching, and what is the percentage within your service deeply indexed? Because there are a lot of resources which are not discoverable through normal search engine interfaces. So your discovery system, our discovery system should be so strong in their searching capabilities that they are able to discover the resources completely with their deep indexes. And describe how your system deals when no hits are retrieved for a search. Does your system enable batch match retrieval, that is something will always be returned or recommended? So again, as we discussed earlier, we have to provide some options, some results to the user whenever the system has a lesser amount of information in that area. So the system should be so designed that it also provides you batch match retrieval or something that will always be returned or recommended. So it should also have a system where some recommendation is also part of your discovery system, where the system also has a recommendatory part where it suggests something and also provides you that this is the best match for your question, and this is basically recommended. So this will be based upon various factors like usage, like comments, like observation of the earlier user. So this whole usage pattern has to become a part of a discovery system, whereby user gets some recommendation also on the basis of previous experiences of researchers and users. Then there is a question of rights management. This is very important again. Does your system offer an unauthenticated view access? Please describe and offer some comments on what materials will not be discoverable, visible, or for an unauthenticated user. So user authentication has to be a part of this. How your system authenticates the genuine user, the bona fide user, you have to look into their rights management and authentication system. License, full text, records specifically are solely sourced from abstract and indexing databases, full citation information, enrichment information such as images, table of contents, abstract, etc. So along with authentication right, we have to also see whether the discovery system is able to provide these points like images, contents, abstracts, and other abstracts and indexing databases through this platform. Also, like how rights management is initialized and maintained in your system for purposes of determining whether a local library user should have access to the full text. If a library does not license the full text, such as resolution to detail, citation, abstract. So this again discovery system has a system in its search interfaces where it establishes complete authentication with regard to right management. If sometime a particular resource is not available, so sometime a particular resource is not accessible as it is not being subscribed. So in that kind of situation, what kind of your provisions are there in the discovery system? What kind of your company is having rights with regard to these resources, where what kind of access, what kind of limited access is possible in such kind of situation where you don't subscribe, but still maybe you just have the information up to bibliographical level or some basic entry level provisions. Then there are lastly some miscellaneous points like which you should examine, you should be careful when you select. For example, the vendor has an existing mobile version of their discovery tool for use by smartphones or other small internet enabled devices. The vendor has designed the product such that it can be incorporated into other sites used by students such as web campus or social networking sites. Indexing and availability of newly published items occurs within a matter of days as opposed to a week or perhaps a month. So, these are the miscellaneous points which have to be examined, that what kind of services are being provided by discovery platform, so that if a student is using some other resource which is some campus based resource or some other resource linked with some other URL. So, whether your discovery system is able to link with these resources or not, whether it is able to index these resources or not. So, these questions have to be asked and we have to carefully examine their answers, and how these resources are available through different devices like your smartphone or other innovative devices which are always coming up and are likely to come up in future also. So, you have to completely examine, understand the support system being provided by discovery platform with regard to other reading devices. Then lastly, you should provide some statistics with regard to usage. This is again important to evaluate the system. So, it should be able to generate various kinds of reports with regard to different kind of resources, and these reports should be always should be able to provide statistics about usage or other user choices, like what kind of user search patterns are, what kind of user search results are. So, it should be able to analyze all this information on the basis of usage, so that you are able to evaluate your content also, you are able to evaluate constantly your holdings also, and you are able to also evaluate your resources. So, these statistics are very important, and all discovery system have this kind of facilities. Whether so, that's all. Thank you very much. So, I thought that these points should be always kept in mind when you subscribe to discovery system, and so we discussed all some of these points with you, and I hope that this will be useful for you whenever you go for selecting a particular discovery platform for your library, because discovery platforms are being extensively used by libraries, and they have become important tools in their hands to manage their electronic resources, their other resources. So, we have to be very careful while we select, because it is a huge investment, huge amount of money which is being spent. So, we should keep all these questions in mind with regard to their functionality. Thank you very much. Thank you.